So even as we in the West preach our style of governments to countries that don't have them, many in our Western countries are tired of and cynical about the historic parties that sit astride our democracies. We have the example of the paralysis experienced in the American two-party system, or the intellectual fatigue demonstrated by the British or French or European models, or indeed our own Canadian system. The Liberal Party in Canada is currently engaged in an effort at resurrection, and you don't get to resurrect unless you're dead. The NDP got a whiff of power, but are not sure how they can convert that to the actual thing. And the Conservatives are in the usual position of trying to avoid us voting them out, which is really the way our political system works, rather than people choosing to vote something in. So the question is, why is it so hard to create a new political party and to offer up a new idea in the same way that new technologies seem to be presented to us almost every day? And it's for that reason that Michael Nicula caught my eye. He's created the Online Party of Canada. Michael, I hadn't heard about it before, but I'd like to hear about it now.
Thank you very much. You know, I feel bad for Sir Conrad Black. He's back there. He doesn't know that my presentation is a really tough act to follow. So what I'm going to present here is my idea on how we can change the political system here in Canada, but not only. This can apply anywhere in the world where the technology of internet has penetrated. And I would start with a quote from Albert Einstein, who said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Hit it, Connie. Corruption, misrepresentation. It's not only in Canada, it's everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. I traveled the world and I saw this everywhere. So the challenge is, how can you use the power of internet to change this political system, to bring the parliament back to Canadians, and to have everybody trust the system that may not be pleasing each one of us, but it would be fair. We all submit to the majority decision. So even if we don't agree, we submit to it. So the idea of Online Party of Canada was my idea. I created it just a few months ago. My name is Michael Nicula. I will tell you a little bit of mildly narcissistic story about myself, but just to give you an idea of where the DNA of this initiative is coming from. I'm a 42-year-old Toronto-based person. I worked as an IT executive for most of my career so far. Recently, I became an entrepreneur. I started two companies. My background, I have a certificate in nuclear technology. I'm certified to operate a nuclear power plant. I have a master's in architecture. I served in the military. I was discharged honorably as a lieutenant. I have an executive MBA from the University of Washington, Seattle. And in Canada, I have an accounting designation, CMA, Certified Management Accountant, soon to be CPA, Certified Professional Accountant. My profession, my entrepreneurship, takes me into business software consulting. So this is part of the idea that built this political initiative. I built a software that's called ACM Soft. It's based on another software. It's called SAP, and it's basically outsourcing human resources and payroll. And in this capacity, I've done consulting for the last 15 years to all kinds of big organizations, multinational companies, Public Works, the Government of Canada. I put the payroll system for them, 250,000 employees from the Prime Minister's Secret Service to the park ranger in Alberta. I also had to deal with unions in government and also in the public sector. One other initiative of mine, it's an online payment application called YPi. has supposed to sound like Wi-Fi, but and also the graphics suggest that. So basically what it is payments between individuals using smartphones. Just like PayPal, but no fees. The banks are going to love it. Online party is my hobby. So this is something I started about 4 years ago, and just a few months ago, it became the 19th registered political party in Canada. The idea is it's an online application, online voting application. At the same time, it's not just a utopia. We're not talking here how we can change the government in theory. This is a federally registered political party. In theory, next elections, which is going to be in 2015, if Canadians want to take this opportunity, because what I did is I broke a door into the political system, into the establishment. Prior to that, it's very hard to get in there. And once you get in there, some magic mop wipes your head and you don't remember anything. Reform Party, they were talking all great things before they got into Ottawa. So here's my personal story. In 1989, I took part as a teenage soldier in a bloody rebellion against the dictator Ceausescu in Romania. There were some stories there. We saw combat, and that's a story for tonight. So I saw a communist dictatorship fall apart, and it was fascinating to see hour by hour how the pillars of power collapsed. And I understood that media is very, very important. At 22 years old, I was the leader of the youth organization of the leading political party in Romania. That's my home country. I'm Hungarian half, Romanian half. So I was the leader of that organization, and in that capacity, I was sitting in the executive bureau of the party. And then I got myself in a position of senior advisor of the president and also a government official at 24 years old in Ministry of Youth Affairs. And in 1994, I joined a team of political image. So the president wanted to make sure he's going to be reelected. So he got a team of mercenaries, American consulting firm that trained us on how to win elections. Media, again, was the key factor, and keep this in mind because this is going to change. I was a young father at 26 years old, and I decided that political image was a very dirty business, and I got scared a little bit. So I used a little bit of a trick to immigrate to Canada, 1996. And then I decided politics, not a good idea, because the media is what keeps the political establishment in power. So I took the time to travel around the world, very nice places such as North Korea, Burma, Mali. Here you see me giving an interview to the North Korean national TV, and this is me in Mali just before the rebellion. So I think I visited half the world so far, and I'm going to do this until I run out of countries. I finished South America. That's a fun place to go. What I did in these years, I tried to observe how the political systems work in all these countries. It's fascinating to see what's common and what's different between all these systems. But what caught my eye was, about 5 years ago, is the fact that the internet is now changing everything. You saw the Arab Spring. That's basically an internet-based system. In 2009, I created Online Party of Canada as an organization, and it took 4 years and about $100,000 of my money to get it finally registered. So it is now a registered political party, federal level. It's the newest out of 19 parties. I don't know how many of you knew. There were actually 18 plus 1, 19 political parties in Canada. Online Party is a totally different one. It's a non-traditional party. It's a promoter, what I call, this is a term that I'm pushing, it's called participatory democracy, and I'll explain it a little bit later. We are using online voting, and basically we are saying that we, voters, we should not vote red or blue once every 4 years. In terms of photography, that would be 1 pixel for 4 years. So what we are saying is people are not liberal, conservative, green, whatever. People are actually a mix of this. I may be conservative when it comes to economic policy. I could be liberal when it comes to human rights. But on weekends, we are all green. We all like the green grass and the blue water. What I invented is the accountability. So this is one of my inventions. Accountability of elected officials. So it's the OPC marquee, which is basically it's a legal document that says if I want to be a candidate on behalf of the Online Party of Canada, I have to sign this document before I become a candidate. We're going to, back to my previous speaker, we're going to test them as well, but don't tell anybody. And then I sign this document which says if I don't vote according to the outcome of the online vote, I resign. So you're not going to have the Reform Party amnesia again. Transparency. Today, we can put all the documents. WikiLeaks has proven that. We can put all the government documents online, of course, not non-secret documents, and it's going to be just fine. We, as the taxpayers, we should know what kind of contracts our government makes. Non-partisanship means at Online Party of Canada, it doesn't matter if you're a registered conservative, liberal, independent. If you're a registered voter, then you will give you a user ID and you can vote on every issue. So it's non-partisanship. The system is built to be private, and you can also be anonymous. If you don't want your name to be sitting beside your vote, you're going to get a 32-digit code. Don't ask me how I got 32. Sitting next to your vote, only you can tell that is your vote, nobody else. So it's not your name. So that's the anonymous part. I invented a way to verify each one of you as a voter is based on the current laws. One challenge that we have is in order to change anything in terms of political system in Canada, we have to be the political system because we can talk all day about changing the laws. The laws are being changed by the parliament. So back to what I said earlier, we just open a big door in this political establishment. So if Canadians voters want, 2 years from now in the general elections, we're going to have 300 or 100, 200 representatives from the Online Party of Canada with the Accountability Act to back them, sitting in the parliament, and we can change the system. Until then, no, it's not going to change, unfortunately. That's how it works. We operate in Canada on elections law from the 60s, 70s. I still have to get members to give me their name, address, date of birth, which contradicts the Privacy Act. But that's because the law was made in 60s, 70s when nobody cared about privacy, and nobody wants to open up the discussion to change the election law because they don't like to change everything. So how does it work? Well, it's grassroots organization. I don't have a platform. Nobody comes up with anything to shove it down the voters' throats. It's basically anybody can post on a forum an idea, a question, anything, and then people read it and they can like it, they can comment on it, they can edit it, so it's crowdsourced. And then the ones that are become more popular, then they are being edited professionally, not altered, but edited, and given background context, links, references, by a team of political science students. And then they become legislative initiatives. And then each one of you can go and vote. Not only that, but you can actually change your vote. Think about that. You can go and change your vote as maybe you hear a new argument and you want to change your vote. And then the MPs that represent Online Party, they have to vote according to what the outcome of this vote. So this is what I call participatory democracy. Direct democracy works only in Switzerland because they teach their kids from 3 years old that they have a civic duty. So that's why every month or so they go in a public forum and they make decisions. So it's a constant referendum. That's not going to happen in Canada. So people, voters in Canada, they are more inclined to cast negative votes. So when we don't like something, then we want to go and say no to that. If we had Online Party of Canada in power today, as opposed to Conservative Party, which, by the way, has under 25% of the votes of the eligible voters in Canada voted for them in last election. However, they have a majority in the parliament. Meanwhile, the Green Party barely made it one representative, although they had for many years support from a significant percentage of the population. Internet is the game changer. Internet it's going to change politics as we know it, not only in Canada, but everywhere. It's a matter of when, not a matter of if. So just to recap a little bit, I have 3 minutes left. Online voting is what we do. And we made it secure, we made it anonymous, and I've been challenged by doctors in IT and political science. Is this really a hacker can hack in and do this and that? So I can talk about that after if you really want to answer to those questions. Participatory democracy, that's our thing. Accountability, this is the missing link right now between elected officials and voters, and really we get angry all the time because we vote for a person, and then I remember Dalton McGuinty when he was elected, and then a week later he raised taxes, although just a week before he said, no, we're not going to do that. Anyway, so this is the website, onlineparty.ca. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're everywhere. But more importantly, the website is going to have an app very soon, which you can use when you're sitting in a streetcar or in your car, hopefully not driving at the time, browsing through multiple issues and voting. For example, I'll give you an example. If Online Party was in power today, marijuana would be legalized. I mean, 80-something% of the population supports legalizing marijuana. I don't want to be the marijuana promoter here. Although the leader of the marijuana party is actually a member of the Online Party of Canada. But seriously, what do you call a democracy where we have the national polls, they show that a majority support, and yet liberal government, conservative government, they don't even want to talk about it. Abortion, it's an issue. I don't know how many of you know, Canada does not have an abortion law because every government avoids. Actually, Stephen Harper made a pledge that while he is in power, they're not going to talk about it. Like, is this a democracy? Like, seriously. The outcome of the vote on our website matches the national poll, saying that the majority of Canadians, surprise, surprise, support legalizing of abortion. And these are just the hot-button issues, but we have hundreds of issues on a website, and of course, if you have an idea or you're passionate about a certain thing, there's lots of advocacy groups that can really use this as a tool to get support and get legitimacy, because this is not just a newspaper poll that you vote today and tomorrow is gone. These votes are binding because we keep them in our database, and if ever we have an MP sitting in the parliament, he is going to listen to you. He's not going to do whatever he wants. So this is my idea, and I hope you will like it and you will support our candidates.
So, Michael, how long did you say your party has been in operation?
Registered just a few months.
Right, but been available and online.
Available online, so I put it online in 2010. Right. So since then I built the website, the content. I did it basically as a hobby,
sure,
aside from my work.
So we're saying 2 or 3 years?
2 years, we're going to have, yeah, 2 or 2 years.
So how many members do you have?
So we have a total of 4,000. They're joining in different ways. Some of them, they send the paperwork. Others don't understand, why do I need to send you a form if you're online? Well, that's how the law says.
So how are you proposing to, well, let the country know about it if you're so opposed to media?
I'm going to give you a quote from Victor Hugo, who said, there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. What I did is I put it out there. I broke a door into the political establishment. I've done my part. I'm now waiting for Canadians to help me out here, because I can't do this on my own. So it's out there. I'm not going to use media because I don't have the $100 million that the Conservative government has to spend on the Canada Economic Action Plan, which is a nonsense total. But it's basically that's their campaign funds, and it's coming from my money, and I don't like it. But I don't have that money. I don't have access to that money. So I cannot compete with them on CBC advertising. Government of Canada is the 4th largest advertiser in Canada. They have the fourth largest budget of advertising. And Government of Canada is Conservative Party right now. Before that, it was the Liberal Party. They did exactly the same, spending money on advertising.
But getting back to your party, if you're not going to do that, are you reconciling yourself to never achieving power?
As I said in my presentation, internet is the game changer. Arab Spring, they didn't put ads on TV in Egypt.
Not such a good outcome so far.
Not such a good outcome.
And one last point. I'm sure you watched the Liberal Party of Canada create this new category called supporter. That's a member who doesn't pay a due and doesn't actually become a member, but clicks a little box on the internet. So apparently 200,000 people clicked, but then when they were asked to come back and vote, which was just another click, more than half of them disappeared, and the only ones who showed up were the Zoomers. Thank you.
Thank you.